In the cold expanse of space where stars twinkled with a dispassionate light against the infinite darkness, the interstellar community thrived with a myriad of species. Each intelligent life form brought its own culture, technology, and idiosyncrasies to the complex tapestry of cosmic civilization. Among them, humans were the latest addition, having been discovered by the Galactic Council only a few decades ago. The consensus among the older species was clear. Humans were peculiar, endlessly fascinating, and above all, cute. Their emotional expressions, varied and vivid, along with their enthusiastic approach to just about everything, made them the darlings of the galaxy. Ambassadors and traders alike flocked to Earth, eager to engage with the new species. Captain Lyrine, a seasoned diplomat from the aquatic planet Xyler, was among the intrigued. Her species, the Xylan, were known for their calm demeanor and methodical thinking, traits that starkly contrasted with human unpredictability. Today, she was aboard her ship, the Silent Ripple, orbiting Earth, preparing for yet another diplomatic mission. "Captain, we are ready to initiate contact with the Earth leaders," her aide, a young Xylan named Firo, informed her. "Proceed." Lyrine nodded, her voice a soothing flow, much like the gentle currents of her homeworld's vast oceans. As the holographic communications array activated, the figure of a middle-aged human male appeared. He wore what Lyrine had learned was called a suit, and his hair was meticulously combed to one side. "Good day, Captain Lyrine," the human, who introduced himself as Ambassador Thompson, greeted her warmly. "It's a pleasure to see you again. What brings you to our little corner of the galaxy this time?" Lyrine's luminous eyes shimmered with a light blue hue, a sign of her peaceful intentions. "Ambassador Thompson, we are here to discuss further trade agreements and to explore more about human culture. My people are quite taken with your planet's diversity and vibrancy." Thompson smiled, a gesture of goodwill that Lyrine had come to recognize and appreciate. "We're flattered by your interest and ready to discuss the possibilities. Earth might still be new to the galactic scene, but we're eager to contribute and learn." As the negotiations proceeded, Lyrine observed the human delegation's dynamics. They displayed a spectrum of emotions, from joy to frustration, all expressed openly and without the filters common to many other species in the Council. It was both refreshing and, at times, bewildering. After several hours of productive discussion, the meeting adjourned with promises of further engagements and mutual visits between Earth and Xyler. Exiting the communications suite, Lyrine pondered on the human's unique nature. "They are indeed cute, in their own peculiar way," she mused to herself. But a part of her, a part honed by years of diplomatic encounters, couldn't shake off a nagging feeling. There was something unpredictable about humans, something that suggested that their cuteness might only be a veneer. As the Silent Ripple prepared to depart from Earth's orbit, an incident report from a nearby human colony arrived. It seemed trivial at first, a dispute over mining rights on a small asteroid, but the intensity of the human response hinted at underlying complexities and potential aggressions. "Firo, set a course for the asteroid belt. I think it's time we see this other side of humans. The side that isn't so cute," Lyrine decided with a newfound resolve. Her ship glided silently through space, moving towards a destination that might well redefine the Xylan's understanding of the newest members of the galactic community. As the stars passed by, the peaceful black of the cosmos seemed a stark canvas, ready to be marked by the deeds of humans, a species so intriguingly complex that one could only wonder what lay beneath their charming exterior. As the Silent Ripple maneuvered through the asteroid belt, the tension on board was palpable. The typically tranquil atmosphere of the ship was now charged with a mix of curiosity and caution. Captain Lyrine and her crew were about to witness firsthand the less endearing qualities of humanity, a side that had so far been obscured by their outward charm and vivacity. The destination was a sizable asteroid, rich in helicite, a rare mineral highly prized across the galaxy for its energy-conducting properties. The dispute, it appeared, was between a human mining corporation and a group of indigenous asteroid dwellers known as the Gritari, a reptilian species known for their rugged, scaled skin and stoic nature. As they approached, The visual feeds from the asteroid relayed scenes of escalating conflict. Human miners equipped with heavy machinery and protective suits were clashing with the Gritari, who wielded tools adapted into makeshift weapons. The stark, rocky landscape of the asteroid served as a grim backdrop to the confrontation. Dust and debris kicked up with every scuffle. Lyrine's second-in-command, a tactically astute officer named Torek, analyzed the feeds. "It seems the humans have pushed into Gritari territories under the guise of expansion. They underestimated the Gritari's attachment to their ancestral land," he reported. Lyrine observed the chaos with a frown. Her mission was to gather intelligence, not to intervene, but every instinct in her called for a peaceful resolution. She contacted both parties, seeking to mediate. The humans responded first, their delegation led by a man named Director Kranz, who appeared visibly stressed but cooperative. "Captain Lyrine, we appreciate your concern," Kranz began, his voice strained. "This situation escalated faster than we anticipated. We're dealing with a lot of pressure to meet production quotas." "And what of the Gritari's claims?" Lyrine inquired, her tone even yet firm. Kranz hesitated, his eyes darting away before returning to the screen. "We may have overstepped, but we need this resource. There's a lot riding on this operation." Before more could be said, the Gritari joined the communication. Their leader, a robust figure named Tharn, spoke with a deep, resonating voice that vibrated slightly due to his species' unique vocal cords. "This asteroid is our home. Humans knew this. They promised to mine only uninhabited areas." Lyrine listened, her mind racing as she considered her next steps. Diplomacy was her forte. Yet this was a delicate situation, balancing corporate human interests against indigenous rights, a scenario that had played out unfavorably in many galactic histories. She proposed a temporary halt to mining operations, a suggestion met with resistance from Kranz but welcomed by Tharn. After several tense minutes of negotiation, an agreement was reached. Mining would pause for a galactic standard week, during which time further negotiations would be conducted with mediation from the Galactic Council. As the communications ended, Lyrine retreated to her quarters, reflecting on the complexity of her mission. The humans' capacity for empathy seemed overshadowed by their ambition and resourcefulness, traits that could lead to prosperity or conflict depending on the balance struck. Outside her window, the asteroid belt loomed large, a silent witness to the unfolding human drama. Lyrine realized that understanding humans required observing them in all their complexities, not just the traits that seemed most prominent or appealing. The galaxy was watching, and the outcome of this dispute would send ripples far beyond the confines of a single asteroid. As the silent ripple maintained its orbit around the contested asteroid, Captain Lyrine and her crew monitored the uneasy ceasefire. The temporary halt in mining activities had taken effect, and both human and Gritari representatives were preparing for the mediated talks. The Galactic Council had sent a mediator, a wise and ancient being from the plant-like species of Zypheria, known for their impartiality and deep-rooted sense of justice. The Zypherian mediator, Viel, arrived aboard the Silent Ripple in a vessel that resembled a floating garden more than a spaceship. Viel's presence was calming, their voice a gentle rustle like leaves in a breeze. Lyrine appreciated the change in atmosphere. The tension seemed to dissipate somewhat with Viel's arrival. "Captain Lyrine, thank you for your initiative here," Viel began, their eyes reflecting a greenish hue. "This situation is delicate. The Council believes your involvement could be pivotal in achieving a resolution." Lyrine nodded, grateful for the support. "We aim to see fairness restored and a balanced outcome for all parties." The talks were scheduled to take place on the Silent Ripple, seen as neutral territory by both sides. As the human and Gritari delegations boarded, their body languages spoke volumes about their respective stances. Humans with a brisk, assertive march, and Gritari with a slow, deliberate pace, their tails swaying cautiously. The negotiation room was set up to accommodate the diverse species, with environmental controls adjusted for each participant's comfort. Viel took the head of the table, their leafy appendages subtly shifting in color as they spoke. "Let us begin by acknowledging the grievances and needs of each party," Viel proposed, setting the tone for an open dialogue. Director Kranz was the first to speak, laying out the economic pressures his corporation faced and the strategic importance of the Helicite deposits. "We are committed to finding a solution, but we must also ensure our survival in a competitive market," he explained. Tharn responded with a resonant voice that filled the room, detailing the historical significance of the asteroid to his people and the environmental damage the mining had inflicted. "We seek to protect our home and our heritage," Tharn stated, his scales glistening slightly under the room's lights. The discussions were intense, with Vale skillfully navigating the contrasting perspectives. Lorene observed, her experience telling her that the solution would lie not in compromise alone, but in innovation, and perhaps an unconventional approach. After hours of debate, Lorene proposed an idea that had been forming in her mind. What if the mining technology could be adapted to be less invasive? Perhaps there is a way to extract helicity that does not require such disruptive methods. The suggestion sparked interest. Vielle expanded on the idea, proposing that the Galactic Council could fund a joint human Gritari research project to develop such technology. "An excellent proposal," Vielle concluded. "It could serve as a model for similar conflicts across the galaxy." Both Kranz and Tharn considered the proposal. It was a risk, an investment into uncertain technology, but it offered a way forward that might preserve both economic interests and cultural heritage. As the delegations tentatively agreed to explore the proposal further, Lorene felt a cautious optimism. This was what diplomacy was about, finding paths that others overlooked, forging connections where division. As the newly proposed joint research initiative took shape, the Silent Ripple served as the temporary base for the project's early discussions and planning. Scientists from both human and Gritari communities, along with some of the brightest minds the Galactic Council could muster, began congregating on the ship. The project was ambitious, aiming not just to innovate mining technology, but also to set a precedent for cooperation that could be a beacon across star systems. Captain Lorene found herself more involved than she had initially anticipated. Her role had subtly shifted from mediator to facilitator, ensuring that the collaboration moved forward smoothly. She observed the interplay of different cultures and expertise, fascinated by the synthesis of ideas that could potentially revolutionize resource extraction in the galaxy. In one of the many meetings held in the Silent Ripple's conference room, Dr. Elara Miles, a human engineer known for her work in sustainable mining operations, presented a series of designs for equipment that could extract helicity with minimal environmental impact. Her Gritari counterpart, a scientist named Gorath, with his deep knowledge of asteroid geology, provided insights that significantly altered the human team's initial assumptions. "We've been able to design a drill that uses sonic waves to gently loosen the helicite, allowing for extraction without destabilizing the asteroid's core," Dr. Miles explained, pointing to the holographic blueprints that floated above the table. Gorath nodded, his scaly brow furrowing as he studied the designs. "This method should preserve the integrity of our habitat. It's crucial that the mining does not disrupt the asteroid's trajectory or internal structure." The teams worked through cycles of day and night, though such concepts were relative in space. Lorene made sure the Silent Ripple's facilities were at their disposal, understanding the importance of their work. This project was more than a technological breakthrough. It was a testament to the possibility of unity and diversity. As the prototype of the new mining equipment neared completion, a test run was scheduled on a nearby uninhabited asteroid. The anticipation was palpable. If successful, the technology could end the conflict and serve as a model for similar disputes elsewhere. The test day arrived, and the Silent Ripple positioned itself at a safe distance from the test site. The mining teams, along with representatives from the Galactic Council, gathered in the observation deck. Lorene stood with them, her eyes fixed on the large viewing screen. The device, remotely operated from the ship, initiated the extraction process. The sonic waves, invisible but powerful, penetrated the asteroid's surface. Monitors showed real-time data of the helicite being harvested efficiently, the surrounding rock remaining perfectly intact. Applause broke out around the observation deck as the first batch of helicite was successfully extracted, and transported to the ship for analysis. "This is a historic moment," Lyrene said, allowing herself a moment of pride in the role she had played, not only for this conflict, but for the potential it represents. "Today we mined resources without destruction, but perhaps tomorrow this technology will mine for peace." The subsequent weeks were spent in detailed evaluations and adjustments. Reports were prepared not only detailing the technological success, but also recommending protocols for its implementation in sensitive environments. As the project concluded its initial phase, delegations from both human and Gritari sides signed an agreement to implement the new mining protocol on the contested asteroid. The signing ceremony, held aboard the Silent Ripple, as the Silent Ripple distanced itself from the asteroid belt, leaving behind a legacy of reconciliation and innovation, another matter summoned Captain Lyrene's attention. A distress signal, weak and intermittent, was picked up by the ship's communications officer. It originated from a little-known sector often overlooked by the main trade routes, a region where the thin line between exploring and trespassing was frequently contested. "Captain, the signal is not registered in our galactic databases. It's an old frequency, used by exploration teams before the modern standardization," reported Firo, his brow furrowed in concentration. Lyrene considered their options. The source was off their planned route, and investigating it would delay their return to Xyler. However, her sense of duty as a captain and a diplomat of the Galactic Council guided her decision. "Set a course towards the signal. It's our duty to assist, and who knows what or who we might find there." As they approached the coordinates of the distress call, the crew adjusted the ship's sensors to penetrate the dense nebula that shrouded the sector. The nebula, a swirling mass of gas and dust, painted the starlit sky with hues of violet and amber, a stunning yet treacherous sight. The source of the signal was a small spacecraft, seemingly abandoned, adrift among the currents of the nebula. The design was outdated, its hull battered by what looked like meteor strikes and nebula turbulence. "Prepare and away, team, we're going aboard," Lyrene announced, suiting up in her specialized gear designed for extravehicular activities. With a small team, she boarded the shuttle that would take them to the derelict ship. The interior of the vessel was as grim as its exterior. Power was minimal, life support barely functional. As they moved through the corridors, the beam from Lyrene's flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing layers of dust and debris. In the cockpit, they found the source of the distress signal, a makeshift broadcasting unit crudely attached to the ship's original systems. Beside the unit lay a logbook, its entries detailing a desperate tale of a lost exploration team from a forgotten expedition. The last entry was dated several years ago, the handwriting shaky. "We were left here, forgotten by those who promised to return. Our supplies are dwindling and so are our hopes," the entry read. The crew's fate was unclear, no bodies were found, and the log did not specify their final days. The discovery was sobering for Lyrene and her crew. They collected the logbook and any other data storage devices they could find, intending to bring them back for analysis and to possibly locate any descendants of the crew. Back aboard the Silent Ripple, the mood was reflective. "To be forgotten like that, it's a fate no one deserves," Lyrene mused aloud, her voice a mix of anger and sadness. "Let's ensure their story is heard. They may have been lost to space, but they won't be lost to history." The ship resumed its journey, now carrying not just a crew of diplomats and scientists, but also the memories of those who had once dared to explore the unknown. As they returned to familiar space, the lessons of the past expedition served as a poignant reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the responsibility of those who navigate it, not just to explore, but to remember and honor those who have gone before. As the Silent Ripple made its way back towards the populated centers of the galaxy, Captain Lyrene prepared her report on the abandoned exploration ship. The narrative of the lost crew weighed heavily on her mind, a stark reminder of the vast and sometimes merciless nature of space. The logbook and other artifacts they had recovered were sent to the Galactic Archives, where they would be studied and preserved. Lyrene hoped that the voices of the forgotten would find some justice in their stories being known. Meanwhile, the success of the Helicity mining project had begun to ripple across the galaxy. News of the breakthrough and the cooperation between the humans and Gritteri reached distant systems, inspiring similar initiatives elsewhere. The potential for less invasive mining technologies that could preserve the ecological and geological integrity of celestial bodies was now a hot topic among planetary governments and major corporations. In the wake of these developments, Lyrine received a summons from the Galactic Council. They requested her presence to discuss the implications of her recent missions and the emerging technologies. Recognizing the opportunity to influence galactic policy on resource management and interspecies cooperation, Lyrine accepted the invitation, knowing that the journey ahead would involve much diplomacy and perhaps challenging negotiations. Upon her arrival at the Council's headquarters, a magnificent station orbiting a neutral planet, Lyrine was greeted with respect and curiosity. Many council members were eager to hear her insights, particularly about managing cultural sensitivities and technological sharing in the mining project. During the council sessions, Lyrine spoke passionately about the need for regulations that ensured the protection of less developed species and their homeworlds. The technology we have developed should not only serve as a tool for economic gain, but as a means to foster peace and understanding among different cultures, she argued. Her words found a receptive audience among many, though some were skeptical, worried about the economic impacts of stricter regulations. The debates were intense, but Lyrine used the example of the human-Grittari collaboration as a beacon of the potential benefits. As the Council reached a consensus to adopt preliminary guidelines for the use of the new mining technologies, Lyrine felt a modest sense of accomplishment. It was a small step towards a more responsible and ethical approach to galaxy-wide resource management, but a step nonetheless. Returning to the silent ripple, Lyrine looked out at the stars, contemplating her next mission. The galaxy was ever-changing, a tapestry woven from countless threads of individual lives, political maneuvers, and technological advances. Each mission added to her understanding of the universe and her role within it. The ship's crew gathered in the common area, sharing a quiet celebration of their successful mission. Lyrine joined them, raising a glass in toast. To those who journey into the unknown, may we always find our way back and bring light to the shadows we cross. As the celebration wound down, Lyrine retired to her quarters, her thoughts already drifting to the future. The universe was vast, and there were many more missions to come, each promising new challenges and new opportunities to make a difference. The silent ripples set course for their next destination, the engines humming softly as they cut through the cosmic sea, ready to face whatever the galaxy held next.